Hey guys, it's Caleb with White Metal Games here. It is Saturday, May 3rd, I think, and I haven't had a lot of studio updates recently because I've been busy with other stuff in my life, just going out of town, traveling for Easter and that sort of thing. But I'm back here now, and I had some time to finish up a couple things, so I wanted to give you a quick studio update. This video is primarily going to focus on the Necrorks, which have been a long-term project for our studio, and is finally basically coming to an end, which is, well, end for me in-house. So for those that are sort of new to the channel, basically what this is a studio house project that I conceptualized about a year ago, and we started putting together about 8 months ago, and finally the second wave is done, and we are subcontracting this out to be painted by Goat Boy of Full of Monkey Painting. So he's already got the first half, and this is the second half, so I'm going to show you that now. So this is the second half of the wave, or what we're calling Wave 2. And Wave 1 was big, but Wave 2 is actually pretty much just as big. It's over 20 models. So obviously it's just massive, and it was actually almost impossible to fit on my photography bench for this purpose. So let's just kind of go by in a sort of a flyby and just sort of give you a real quick heads up of what everything is. So firstly, we've got these destroyers. We built 5 of these plus one with a more massive weapon to count as either a destroyer lord or a heavy destroyer. The bodies are based on Signar Khador models, and then just tons and tons of kit bashing, with the lower pieces actually being correctly from the destroyer models. And as you can see if you look real close, every one of these guys is personalized. He has individual bits, power claws, Necron bits, just tons and tons of stuff. And then the destroyer lord is just sort of massive, and he's got this huge gun on him. Then there's a regular Necron Lord. We've got an army list for these guys, but in general you'll just be able to count him as an Orc Lord or a Necron Lord, depending on which way you want to play him. He's going to count as having, you know, like a bionic body or a Semperminal weave. So basically he's got a high save, and that's represented by all of his bionics and specialty weapons. And he's holding this weird squig with a Necron faceplate on him. And so he's a lot of fun. You've got these little guys down here, which we're counting as Tomb Scarabs, and they're basically buzz saws, and we put a little eyepiece on them to make them look like buzz drones. And they kind of fly around and destroy things, and we like that a lot. Of course, a Triarch Stalker. Originally the list wasn't going to come with one, but Goat Boy did a picture of an orc driving one of these, and I just couldn't resist. I just had to build one, so I forked up the extra money for it. And I think he came up really well. I put this nice, well, the bottom weapons are magnetized, so you have all 3 weapons options, and then I also put this big chain on there with the spiked ball at the end, just because I thought it was kind of fun, like a wrecking ball. This is one of 2 Annihilation barges, but we made this one to look more like a Tesseract Arc. So this one actually can count as a Tesseract Arc if you have the Forge World rules, and if you don't have the Forge World rules, just count it as an Annihilation barge. And then there's another one over there. This one's a little more straightforward. That one was not heavily converted. We really just changed the drivers out. These Orc trucks in the back count as I think they're called not called barges, but they're the ones that carry all the Necrons. So that's what these are, and they've been kit bashed with a truck, and you can see there it's a really long model. Orky guns on the side and plates, and those came out real well. There's 2 of those, plus we've got 3 Daka Jets, which count as Night Scythes. Basically for these we just bought 2 Night Scythes and a Daka Jet and just kit bashed them together. So they're kind of fun. I enjoyed building these quite a bit, and they've got some nice Orky pilots in there holding a joystick, and some nice Orky bits all over the place, and I think that's going to paint up real well. And we actually have these 3 objective markers we made custom for the army. Which are these, and they're really big, and they're designed to look like sort of portals of some sort, and we just sort of put those on these really neat little chariot bases we had laying around. Obviously they're big for objective markers, but we think this army is special and deserves a big objective marker. So this is just Wave 2. The first wave included over 40 boys plus immortals, a squad of 10 immortals, which you could count as loot as in a regular orc army, plus a lord, plus a Catan, plus several more vehicles, so just tons and tons of stuff. So all told, the army is probably around 3,000 points now. It's a big army. I wanted to build a Stompa for it, but before I get to that point, I want to see if this army will sell. And if this army does sell, then the person who buys it can certainly contact me about my vision for a Stompa for the army. We built one big, what do you call those things? Gauss Pylon for it. So that will allow you to play in escalation games and Lords of War style play. So you've got an option for Apocalypse play, but I really wanted to build a big Stampa, but that hasn't happened yet. So, okay, so that's basically the Necrorks project. What else is going on around the studio? Well, a couple things. First off, we're working hard on a Retribution of Cyber project for a new client. We've had that for about 3 or 4 weeks now, so we're getting to the final stages of that, and it's been a little bit delayed due to holiday travel and that sort of thing, but we're polishing that up. On the characters, we actually just did our base work on the cloaks and the base colors on the model, so we did some really nice simple fades with an airbrush, and we're going to go back in and add in some washes to kind of pick up some of the detail on those and shade them a little bit. This particular client wanted me to sort of have some fun with the army, so he allowed me to change some colors up. So instead of going the traditional whites, we're going to go with a lot of blues and greens. And I'm kind of embracing the whole Ios theme on Retribution of Cyber because they have a lot of, what do you call it? It kind of has an oriental, that's probably racist, a Middle Eastern feel to it. So we're kind of embracing that aspect of it. And we're going to do that with a lot of jades, a lot of blue-greens, and some nice reds to offset that. So it'll really pop when it's all said and done. So I can, well, you know, actually I went in the wrong direction, so let's go back this way. I had a couple of the guys done, and I completely forgot they're actually back here. So, sorry about that, guys. Okay. Oh, okay, here we go. Let me turn on a light. Okay, so here you can actually see some of the finished models. Now with these ones we actually went with a blue and a gray. He really likes gray. We gave their eyes just a little bit of pop with little white dots. It's hard to tell there. Let me see if I can't get the camera to focus on it. There we go. Now you can kind of see it a little bit better. And with the hands we wanted to go with a magical effect, so we actually used a blue OSL effect using some Minotaur glazes, the plasma fluid glaze, and a nice white to offset that. And then all these cracks we actually painted with an oil wash, several combinations of oil washes to get those runes to look nice and glowy and shiny, and I think they look pretty good. I think they pop really well. So there's 6 of those Mage Casters, then we've got another squad of other guys. We have one more commission we actually just got in. This is a brand new commission. This client is a new, he had an order about a month ago for some Ultramarines on bikes, and he liked them so much he wanted us to do another squad. This squad's a little different. It has 5 bikes, but it also has an apothecary, and all of the guys are going to have storm shields slung on their back, as he said, Ninja Turtle style. So there's their shields. They're also going to have grav guns. We've got one more scratch-built Tech or Thunderfire cannon, and this time the client actually requested a scratch-built Tech Marine. So this is the Tech Marine we came up with. We based him, because he's an Ultramarine figure, we based him on Sergeant Kronos, which is a fun-looking figure, and then we just converted the crap out of him, gave him this nice Mechanicum-style axe. We did a custom servo harness with all the little bits and doodads there, and lots of little things there. He's a lot of fun. And then we did a custom Valeria. He is going to be dabbling in some Inquisition. So here's the custom Valeria. She's a little hard to see. Let me see if I can't get the camera to focus on her. Okay, here we go. So we based her off a Lamian figure from the Dark Eldar range. And then we just modified her, gave her this cube. You can see there in her right hand, and her left hand she has the Blade of Destiny. And then we put some bits on her belt, that sort of thing, a little scabbard over there. For the gun, she has a one-shot Tau-ish weapon, like a one-shot rail gun, but the client requested something very small, kind of a la the Noisy Cricket in Men in Black. So we found this little Derringer piece we liked, and we gave it a hilt, or a handle rather. And he also requested that her face be a little more covered up and sort of cover up the ear so she doesn't look so elfy. So that's what we did there. And there we go, the camera's focused on her now. So that's what we did. We gave her some nice big locks to sort of match her big ponytail and sort of cover up her ears and stuff. And I think she looks pretty good. She's got kind of an Eastern flair to her, which I really enjoy. He also wanted a couple of custom magnetized figures. So these 2 guys here. This is a sergeant with a combi weapon that is fully magnetized, and then he's got one regular weapon guy that's also fully magnetized. He has a plasma and a Melta. One Kotias right here. He's looking good. And one Inquisitor. And there's the Inquisitor. And the Inquisitor, the only modification he wanted there was he wanted him to be the witch hunter looking guy with the big hat, and then he wanted a las pistol. So that's that. So we modified them with this really nice old las pistol we found in our bits box. And 3 servo skulls, which we just did regular servo skulls and just mounted them to 28mm bases, and that works fine. Okay, so lots going on. We'll be actively doing commissions for the next month or so. As of June, we have to take a brief hiatus. We are going away on a job for a month, which is unrelated to the White Metal Games business. And then after that's done, we'll be back in July, and we have one commission lined up for July, a big army we're going to be tackling. And then that'll sort of take us into the fall. So right now, business is good. We've got lots of new clients, and we're very pleased with that. So thank you very much for supporting White Metal Games the last year or so. In other news, the army that we helped work on, the group army for Help for Heroes, which was a Salamanders project, just finally sold. Or was won at auction, rather. It was a silent auction where you bought tickets, and it sold over... it was something like over 12,000 US dollars. It was over 7,000 pounds. So huge amount of money was raised for Help for Heroes, and they've already started on their new plan for their next project, which is apparently going to be an Ultramarines project, which is great, which is fine by me. We've already volunteered to help out with that, so we're looking forward to that for Help for Heroes 2 for the next wave for Ultramarines. So yeah, that's it for now. So thank you for tuning in, and until next time, put your minis where your mouth is.